It's never too late to change the direction of your life that will honor God and give Him glory. The death of his dad changed the direction of his life. Steele Croswhit went from traveling the country with his successful secular band, opening for others like Maroon 5, Sheryl Crow, Foo Fighters, to pastoring a church in Salt Lake City, Utah, the state that has the highest Mormon population and only 3% identifying as evangelical Christians. This is his story. This is today's Nashville. This is faith. Steele, it is so good to see you again. Thank you for being on today's Nashville.
Thank you for having me again. It's, well, the first time, but good to see you again as well.
Thank you. You know, you went from rock star to pastor.
Yes, I did.
Tell me all about it, but let's go back from your childhood and how it all started.
Oh boy, that's quite a story. Well, I grew up in a musical home. The first time I performed, I was singing at age 5. My dad was a musician. A lot of music in my house. I was not raised in a Christian home, though my family, they all became believers later in life. I started my first band when I was 15 years old. Prior to that, I was playing acoustic guitar in coffee shops and performing songs from the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and Van Morrison and Elvis Presley.
Well, what even got you started in music?
Oh, my dad, for sure. My dad was an old-time musician. In the 60s, he played in several bands, and so there was just a real love for music in my home. Music was always something that was a part of our culture. Always we were talking about it, watching movies about it. So definitely was started at home, and my dad was the one who taught me how to play guitar. So he was the one who also ushered me into performing music, you know, he recognized a talent at a young age, like I said, and just kind of pushed me in that direction. So coffee shops at 15 and pizza shops at 15, and then I started my first band, and by age 16, secular band, not a Christian band. I was the singer, songwriter, guitar player for that band, and to try to make a very long story short, was signed by a record deal at the age of, I believe, 19. Success started to follow shortly thereafter.
So music was your goal and your career.
And my God, no question about that. Yeah, it was all the focus, and I still, to this day, I've reprioritized my loves, but music is still the passion of my heart. But certainly back then,
So what happened after you were signed?
Well, let me talk a little bit about that. My dad, who was my best friend, he became a Christian later in life, and I also became a Christian at about the age of 12. And I would say from 12 to 16, the Lord was Lord of my life. That's an important statement.
Let me go back.
Sure.
Tell me the moment that you did decide to follow Jesus.
My sister was going to a church in Utah. A Lutheran church. Utah is the least evangelical state in the whole country. And she found this great little church through her youth group, and she started going to youth group. She became a Christian. She's 3 years older than me, and she invited me to youth group. My parents thought she was crazy because we weren't in a religious home. Who's this girl now that's in love with Jesus? Well, that passion and love of the Lord she brought to my family, and I became a Christian. She led me to the Lord at age 12. Then my family became Christians thereafter. And there really was a moment of transformation at that time. And yet, from the ages of 12 to 16, the Lord was the Lord of my life. And by 16, music had become God. And so that's an important note, you know, in talking about what happened when I got signed, is that my passion for Him dwindled because music had taken over.
So at 19, then what happened?
We were in Las Vegas for a showcase where you would go and present your music to the world. You know, record execs would come and managers would come. And we went there, this is before social media. So we went there 3 days early, 5 days early to Las Vegas. We were playing at the Hard Rock Cafe, and it's called The Joint. It was an awesome, awesome venue. We went there about 5 days early to do what's called street not outreach, that's a Christian term, but just telling people about the band. There are posters everywhere, and the day before the show, my dad, who was the manager of our band at that time, in that 5 days had made a lot of connections. Come and see this band, come and see this band. And so there was a lot of buzz about us. And when the day before the show, my dad passed away suddenly of an abdominal aortic aneurysm. And when he passed away, it was like everybody in that casino, all those places for that music event had come to see this performance of this band. And we played the show the day after he passed away in honor of him as a remembrance kind of moment. It was kind of a movie. It was like a movie. All these record execs, all these managers had come in. And the next thing you know, we played that showcase, and it was almost immediate that there was record deal offers and movie offers and movie, treatments for videos and things like that. It was definitely a place where it was like, if there was a movie montage, it would have felt kind of blurry and fast, and oh my goodness, what had happened? We had gone from a band that was playing around regionally and getting quite a lot of success to suddenly at the doorstep of significant opportunity. Shortly thereafter, we had a number of different record deal offers, and we settled on one, and things really started to move at an incredible pace thereafter. Though underneath it, the Lord had become so not important to me because music had taken over. And then I had lost my dad, and so everything was so convoluted. And yet, there I was on the kind of precipice of a lot of opportunity.
The day you lost your dad and you were playing, what was going through your mind?
Oh, heartbreak, loss. I felt lost, completely lost, entirely, completely lost, and hopeless, really. Yeah, I didn't know, because he was my best friend, and he had brought us to this place, and suddenly music felt like I had to do it. I had to do it to somehow like make, in some ways, like his death matter. I don't know. It was horrible.
How do you deal with getting on stage and just performing that night?
I think there was a tremendous amount of, I love music. And there was a lot of honoring that was there for my dad because he brought us there, right? Like there was this management component that he believed in our band, he believed in me, and he had set these shows up, he had met all of these people for the opportunity to be able to say, hey, my son wants to be a touring national famous musician.
Did the audience know your dad had just passed?
Yeah, because he had networked with all these people prior to our show. That was the whole point. We went there early so that we could go showcase and talk about our band, and there was a lot of buzz, and so all these people had met my dad. He had gone and met them and had meetings with them, and then they found out he had passed away, and in support of him even, the place was so full, packed with music execs, and so they knew that something had happened to the manager of this band, who happened to also be the father of the lead singer, and so there was it was very movie-like. It was a very interesting night, a lot of energy in the room.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about what God did in your life after the passing of your dad and how it transformed everything.
Awesome.
Still, your dad just passed away. Jesus is in the background. Yeah. You're getting ready. Your life is ready to explode.
Yeah, thanks for that setup. In the moment, we were in Las Vegas. We were playing at the Joint Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. And I had so many meetings even that night. People were they were really just like handing business cards. And come and meet with us. Come and meet with us. And it was such a blurry time. I went home. I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. And the offers kept coming in. Meanwhile, it's important to note that up until that point, I had a pretty good drinking habit, and it just got way worse because I'd lost my dad. and there was a lot of pressure. I think I was 19 or 20 years old. I was young. And so there was a lot of partying that happened, a lot of excitement, but underneath all of that, there was just a lot of hurt and pain and a lot of bad habits, a lot of immorality, a lot of bad decisions. And yet there was this kind of momentum. We signed with a record company that had signed 3 of my favorite artists. There's a band called the Black Crowes. They're a secular band. They're still around and they're amazing. Of course, we know Prince. And there's a band that I grew up listening to called The Who. Pete Townsend is the guitar player of The Who. He was on this same record company, and it was a dream. It was again a whirlwind. They signed us. We started flying out over the country, throughout the country, playing showcases and shows, and we went into the studio, and we were spending time in Indiana and Los Angeles and Canada and recording our album. It was just a lot of speed, a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement, a lot of trajectory of fame. We were in Billboard magazine. We released an album. We were on the radio.
Now, what was your band called?
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, it was called Silver Crush at the time. That's what it was called. And I was the lead singer and guitar player and songwriter. And we were just playing and busy and touring. And we played with some great acts, some of the best in the world.
Maroon 5?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sheryl Crow?
Yeah. Counting Crows, Train, Ziggy Marley, on and on. Lots of some of the best musicians in the world. And I was rubbing shoulders with them, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, there I was, honestly, really. I mean, I remember walking into the store, The Gap, right?
Yeah.
I was in The Gap, and I heard my song in The Gap. I was like, what is happening? I'm hearing my own music in The Gap. Or I turned on the radio one time, and there was our song, and it was a dream come true in some ways. In every way, except that by this time, the Lord just wasn't important to me at all. And so when you're a believer, your identity changes. We know this. God makes you a new creation. And I know this now as a maturing believer, is that if you are not following the Lord as a believer, even though you might be doing well in these other arenas of your life, at least seemingly, the truth of the matter is that there's no peace, there's no joy, there's just tumult, and really just in some ways a restlessness, and that's what was happening. That while success, at least seeming success, was really climbing, internally there was the loss of my dad. I wasn't living in the identity of a believer, and so there was just a lot of bad habits. Just a lot of really bad habits for a young man. So things weren't going well internally. Externally, tremendous, right? But internally, there was a lot of hurt and pain and loss.
What was the turning point?
I'd been on tour for about 6 months. And my sister, who I shared with you a little earlier, who was the one who led me to the Lord at a young age, she had started going to a small church in Utah called The Rock. And it met on Saturday nights. And it was small, maybe 25, 30 people. It met in a rec center, okay? So there was mirrors on the side of the room, so it made the room look twice as big. I came off a tour, and she said, I had gained 100 pounds of alcohol weight. And she said to me, this is what she said, you look so bad. You look terrible. You need to come to church. And I said, I'm not going to church. I'll be struck by lightning. I was smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I was drinking all day long. She said to me, listen, come to church. It meets at 6 p.m., so you can sleep in. And then when you go there, you can smoke out front. And then when we're done, I'll take you out for nachos and beer. I thought, okay, I can smoke out front. It meets at night, nachos and beer. I can do this. I showed up to church, and it was like a light switch in my heart. The pastor, who is still there, was teaching about grace. I knew about grace, but it had been so buried. It was like the truth of the gospel was basically, if God is who he says he is, this is what it was. If he really is real, and you really are forgiven, and he really is God, then what are you doing? Why are you taking that from him and not living for him? And I remember it was like a light switch, and something deeply in me, that identity, the Holy Spirit, it's like I woke up. I've never been the same since.
What happened?
Jesus gripped my life. I committed my life to him in a new way, in a way that was not just, I want to be a Christian, save me from my sin. It was, I want you to be the Lord of my life. And I don't know what that means, but I'll do anything for you because I know. It was like I knew it. You know, it's that moment, like the two roads kind of. It's so cliche, but you go that way. I remember feeling this. If you go this way, you will die. You're the end. If you go this way, you can follow me, and there's life. But I had no idea what that would mean. I had no idea I'd be here. I had no idea that there was a ministry involved for me. I just knew that there was a crossroads. This was it. Go that way, and you can have your life. You can have everything that you've wanted since you were 5. But you'll end your life. It'll end. Or follow me. I decided to follow him.
So what happened the following weeks, months? How did your life change?
Oh my gosh. I started hanging out with this little group of nerds from the church. I was this guy that thought I was the coolest guy
What
in the
happened to
world.
the band? What did you tell the band?
Yeah, that was hard. That was really hard. I told them I couldn't do it anymore. That was really hard. I had been playing with those guys for years, and they had given up their life to follow this dream. So some of them went on to be incredibly successful musicians in the secular industry. Some of them fell into a lot of drug addiction.
What about the record label?
God saved me from that. He, if you can imagine this, if you can believe it, through a number of just, I would say, anointed and ordained events, the record company gave me back my album. And they paid, there was a legal battle. And then, by God's grace, I won that legal battle. And they gave me back the ownership to my record. And they paid for all my legal fees, which I think, by the way, was kind of the beginning of several miracles in my life that the Lord said, if you follow me, I'll help you. I'll help you. I'm your God. I'm your King. I'm your Father. And he saved me from that trap so that I didn't have to keep going down that road, and gifted me my music back and paid for all the fees, because by that time I was broke.
But you went from a rock star to the rock to saving many lives, and we're going to talk about it when we come back.
Amen.
Still, you went from rock star to pastoring the rock.
Wow.
How did it happen?
Gosh, 20 years later, I'm still asking myself that question a little bit. What I would say is that, honestly, Jesus, he has changed my life. And it started that night that I went to the church, and the light switch type moment happened in my heart. I started hanging out with this small group of people. They were kind of nerds, My sister, people I wasn't used to hanging out with.
She's not going to like you.
No, she's my best friend. She is. My wife is my best friend, and my kids, and then, of course, my sister. But, I say that with affection, really, because I was so used to being around such a false kind of crowd. And people, and I thought I was so cool. And they just, this new group, they just didn't care. They didn't care. They were like, whatever. They played board games on a Friday night. And I thought, who plays board games on a Friday night? And they were making decisions that didn't end in some version of disaster, which is what I was pretty used to. But through that little group and going to this church and getting to know the pastors and learning the Bible and just a pure, simple devotion to the Lord. It's like, there's that proverb that says that the way of righteousness is like the first gleam of dawn, growing ever brighter to the full light of day. That's what it felt like. It felt like new. It felt like each morning it was getting a little bit brighter to clarity. And, again, I know we don't have a ton of time, but God just worked me through steps of sobriety, honesty with my own heart, steps towards, even just repentance of what my life had kind of become, of what I had become like the Lord of my own life, and just kind of undoing, if you will. There's that imagery in the Old Testament about how the high priest stood before the Lord and Satan accused him, and he had all of these dirty clothes, and then the Lord tells him to put new clothes on him. That's what it felt like to me. It's like the Lord just was like, you got to get rid of all that stuff. And the evil one was just accusing me all the time, and the Lord was like, no, he's got new clothes. He's mine now. And so it's been a journey like that, and it's still like that. it's still just an affection for the Lord. I love the Lord Jesus. I love him. And so...
But you're pastoring a large church now.
Large for Utah, yeah. And I'm one of 8 pastors. And so that's probably good, because I don't know that they'd want me just to pastor it alone, but I know they wouldn't. I sure wouldn't. And that just happened over time, I started going to this church, like I said, and getting to know the pastors. And then I was raised up several years later as a pastor, and I started playing music there and writing music there. And that's really what happened, is I love music and I love Jesus, and the 2 things came together. And suddenly, the pastor, he was like, Steele, it'd be so awesome if you would write songs for the church. And I thought, well, I know how to write rock and roll. He's like, well, do it the way you do it. And that's what I did. And started releasing songs, and then more musicians started coming to the church, and they were like, we want to write Christian music.
But it's more like rock.
It's all rock. It's rock. And then, the ministry, it's called the rock music. Very creative, the rock church, the rock music. There's all kinds of styles now, and I'm just a part of it. I'm not the guy. I'm just a guy in it. But there's my style of music, which is more rock and roll. There's my co-pastor Caleb's style of music, which is like indie rock. We have harder rock. We have alt country. We have CCM type music. It's all there. And it's all through this little local church in Utah. And we're writing and recording and releasing music to bring attention to what God is doing in Utah through this little local church. And the reason I'm passionate about the local church is because that's where God changed me. It's where he saved me. It wasn't just the message of the gospel, which is the power of salvation. It was the connection to the body of believers. And for me, that church, combined with the combination of the Holy Spirit and the power of the gospel, has saved and changed my life. And so if the best thing I know how to do is play music, and even then, maybe not so great, but if that's the best thing I can offer, I want to do it for Jesus, and I want to do it through the local church. And I want to show other musicians how to do the same. So that's what we've been doing for 20 years.
Will you play me something?
Sure. This song's called Burn For You. I'll play a verse and a chorus. And really it's about this story, about how I gave God my life so that he could set me on fire, so the world could see. If they see Steele Croswhit, I want them to see that I love Jesus. So.
Break my heart, take my dreams there, they're only in the way of what's better than I ask or imagine. You're my home, you're my place, each and every word you say. Set me on fire, fire for you, fire for you. Set my heart on fire so that I can burn for you. Set my heart on fire, let them see me burn for you. Set my heart on fire so that I can burn for you. Set my heart on fire, let them see me burn for you.
I love it. Burn for you. So how has your life changed in going from rock to pastoring, and the lives that you're changing now?
Well, my life's changed so much because it's about him now and his glory. And the joy of following him is real for me. Of course, the blessing of the Lord is really that I have a beautiful wife of over 20 years and 3 awesome kids.
And she's an awesome singer.
Oh, dude, she's so cool. She's the best. Yeah, she's really the best in every way. So there's a tremendous gift. I feel like the Lord gave me the things that are actually good. He gave those to me. And then, the daily privilege of sharing Christ with people in the least evangelical state in the country is a real blessing. We do that through the teaching and the preaching of the Word, and of course through our music ministry. And it's been just a tremendous journey. And we're here now just to do more, right? Not to make my name famous, but to show the world in some ways, look at what God can do. Look at what God can do. And He can use your style of music, whatever that might be. A transformed, changed life, a yielded life. What I would say to your listeners, if there's any, particularly artists and musicians, it's so hard because the world wants that. They want it. The world wants that talent. Give it to God. Just give it to the Lord. Just give it to Him, and He will blow your mind. And do it the way that you're bent to do that. If it's music and you like a particular kind, do it for Him in that way. He'll blow your mind. He gave that to you. So I would ask them to walk in faith in that way.
Steele, thank you so much. What a blessing to have you.
Thanks for having me.
God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you too. Thank you.
My friend, do you need change in your life? Do you need transformation? Run to the rock. His name is Jesus. He is waiting for you. This is today's Nashville. This is faith.
Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.